The train was just reading a book of the Mr. Men back in his old days. This is something very special for an old engine like her to read. Mr. Topsy Turvy. Mr. Topsy Turvy was a funny sort of fellow. Everything about him was either upside down or inside out, back to front, topsy-turvy, in fact. It was all very extraordinary. To give you some idea of how topsy-turvy Mr. Topsy-turvy was, you out to see his house. The front door is upside down to start with, and the curtains hang upside down at the windows. And just look at the chimney pot. All very extraordinary. Inside is the sign. Just look at that clock standing on Mr. Topsy-turvy's mantelpiece. Isn't that the topsy-turviest clock you've ever seen? And just look at the way Mr. Topsy-turvy reads a book. Not only does he read it upside down, but he starts to read it at the back page. And just look when Mr. Topsy-turvy puts a step and he sends a letter to somebody. Have you ever seen anything like it? Now, this story is all about the time Mr. Topsy-turvy came to the town where we now live. Nobody is quite how Mr. Topsy-turvy got there, where he came from, but it did arrive because somebody saw him getting off the train. The trouble was he did it in a topsy-turvy way and got out the wrong side and fell onto the railway line. Which really isn't all that ever surprising, is it? Just ever strange. When he'd picked himself up, he managed to find his way out of the train yard, out of the station. Mr. Topsy-turvy went to a hotel to find a room to spend the night. The hotel manager tried not to smile when he saw Mr. Topsy-turvy walk into his hotel carrying his suitcase upside down and with his topsy-turvy hat on his head. "Good afternoon, sir," he said. "Can I help you?" Now, something you didn't know about Mr. Topsy-turvy is the way he speaks. You see, he sometimes gets things the wrong way round when he talks backwards. It makes every funny sense enough for the people to understand. "Afternoon, good," said Mr. Topsy-turvy to the hotel manager. I'd room a leg." The manager scratched his head. You mean you'd like a room?" he asked. "Please, yes," replied Mr. Topsy-turvy. Eventually, the hotel manager managed to work out what Mr. Topsy-turvy was talking about, he was taken to a lift to a bedroom. Then Mr. Topsy-Turvy unpicked his suitcase, put on his pyjamas and went to bed. He was rather tired after travelling from wherever he'd come from. The following day, Mr. Topsy-Turvy went round the town. What a fuss his going round the town caused. He took a taxi from the hotel, but so confused the taxi driver trying to tell him where he wanted to go, the poor man drove straight into a traffic light. Said Mr. Topsy-Turvy. I'm sorry. Then he went into a big department store in the middle of the town, walked up to one of the counters. I'd like a sock of pearls, he said to the lady behind the counter. You mean a pair of socks? She smiled and showed him a pair of bright red socks. Mr. Topsy-Turvy put them on his hands. Then he tried to leave, but being Mr. Topsy-Turvy, he tried to walk down the up escalator, and all the people going up the up escalator all fell over themselves. It was a terrible topsy-turvy jumble. That every day, Mr. Topsy-Turvy did all sorts of topsy-turvy things. He walked backwards across a street crossing and caused an enormous traffic jam. He went into a library and put all the books upside down on the shelves and made everybody extremely cross. Then he went into an art gallery and insisted on hanging all the pictures upside down so that he could look at them properly. Then, after Mr. Topsy-Turvy had been in the town for just one day, it disappeared. Nobody knew how he went or where he went, but he certainly went because he wasn't there anymore. The town had to say for left. But what the town discovered, even though Mr. Topsy-Turvy was left, was that everything was still topsy-turvy. Read all it's about, shouted the newspaper sellers instead of shouting. Read all about it. News is a said the television newsreader, instead of saying, here is the news. Morning good, people started saying to each other when they met, and do to you how, instead of how do you do. Everybody was talking topsy-turvy. Now, can you think of something to say that's topsy-turvy? Try on, go on, try it. It's a bit simple. And let's end this extraordinary turd, baby. Bye.